So out of the blue, the Mercedes transmission failed again. Unfortunately, I was driving some coworkers to a meeting. Everybody was saying how nice the car is, how smooth it runs. And then 100 meters from this convenience store at a light, the transmission just stopped working. Unfortunately, the exact same thing happened about 3 years ago. So I'm trying to figure out what we need to do. Do we put in another transmission? Do I try to fix it myself? We did contact the shop in Osaka that put in the used transmission 3 years ago, see what they would do. They said they could put in another used transmission, but no big discount on the price or anything. So I ordered the repair parts, the conductor plate and the connector bushing, and hopefully I can install it myself and get it working again. But first we have to get the car home. So my wife drove over together in the BMW, and we'll see if we can get the car back to our house over the mountain. If not, we're going to call a tow truck. So let's just start it and see what happens. If we have any sign of gear slippage, we'll just give up right now. But if it seems like it might be running, there's the check engine light is on. Yep, so it does go for the moment. Let's try. Let's see if it'll stay in gear. It doesn't look like it. Looks like we're screwed. So, let's see if we get down the hill. We got no power. So this is about as far as we made it from the convenience store, about 1 kilometer down the hill, and most of that was coasting. And now we're just gonna wait for the tow truck to arrive because the transmission is definitely not working. Okay, so the tow truck's here. The police also made a brief appearance because they thought we got into an accident because of where we were stopped before on the side of the road. But all good for now. A tow truck driver came within about 30 minutes, and now he will bring the car to our house, and I can get it in the garage and get underneath it and see what's going on. Okay, very nice tow truck driver got the car back home. It will sit here till I can get it put into the garage and mess with it a little bit more. Look at the service, even smoothing out the rucks. いい、大丈夫です。大丈夫、大丈夫。大丈夫。So my personal experience with the 722.6 transmissions is that they fail internally, because I had the exact same symptoms 3 years ago, and I read all the forums and they said, oh, you need to check for oil wicking up from the connector plug, or it's the conductor plate, or just check the fluid level. And I did all those things and it was okay for 2 months, and then it failed again. So it's a bit of a deja vu, but I'm going to do the same thing again this time. So first thing I want to do is check the fluid level, but the car's on a bit of a slope, so I'm just going to move it to a better location. Okay, so I was debating whether or not to try to put the car in the garage, which is certainly the best place to work on it, but as you can see, there's quite a slope, and then I have to kind of go backward, forward, and the car only got as far as here, and then it kind of stopped moving again, and a few times starting and stopping, I got it into this position. So 3 years ago, when the transmission exhibited the same symptoms as it is now, I did accumulate a few things which are necessary for working on the transmission. And first thing is this dipstick, which doesn't come from the factory. You have to buy this. The Mercedes originally claimed these were lifetime fill transmissions. Obviously they're not, so the aftermarket has supplied tools like this, which are used for checking the fluid level. And I also have some Febby Bilstein ATF, which should be good for the Mercedes. So let's check the fluid. And we have a lot of fluid on there. And the next things I have to check, it's possible it's a transmission control module which lives over there. If the oil is leaking from the connector plug, it can go all the way up in there and contaminate it. 3 years ago I did check that, and I did have some leakage at the bottom of the transmission, but it didn't make it all the way up here. But might as well check over there just to be sure. So the TCM, the transmission control module, lives under this cover here. Some Phillips screws to remove, and then we can take a look at that. And there's several modules. I think the transmission control module is the one in the middle. Yeah, I don't see any signs of oil. Okay, the transmission control module looks completely normal, no signs of oil, and I don't know actually how oil would actually get up all these wires into this module. But internet says to check that part. So unfortunately the next stage involves jacking up the car and getting to the transmission, at least the exterior, the electrical plug. On the gravel, it's not going to be the most fun, comfortable place to work on the car, but the next thing to do is to look at the plug, the electrical plug which attaches to the transmission. Okay, so I'm going to make my way underneath the car, set up a little blanket, and we'll take a look at that electrical plug that's at the front of the transmission. The question we're trying to find out is whether or not that electrical bushing is leaking or not. There's some O-rings inside which fail, and then the electrical signal doesn't go from the transmission up to the control module up there. So let's see if we can get a good look at that. Okay, status update. We have checked now the fluid level. That seems to be okay. The transmission control unit, that seems to be nice and clean. And then we've checked the electrical plug on the front of the transmission underneath the car, and that is clean as well. So the next option is to replace the conductor plate, which people say is a common failure point. And the last time I went through this whole process, I did in fact replace that, and it was okay for 2 months, and then went into the same kind of limp mode with slipping of the transmission. But might as well give that a shot. It's a few $100s versus a few $1,000s. So get online and order that part. Okay, I dropped the Benz off the jack stands because it's going to be sitting here for a while until the parts come. I was debating on whether or not to buy sort of the Amazon cheap parts, but I decided to go with the OE replacements from FCP Euro in the States, so that'll take about 10 days to arrive. So that's the current situation. I think I'll end the video here. This will be part 1, so stay tuned for part 2 when I go inside the transmission and replace the conductor plate. So the car will sit here for now, and please like and subscribe to the video, and I'll catch you in part 2. Thanks for watching.